Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you're new to this channel, or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support this channel, there is a link in the info box below this video once they're rendered, or there is a super chat that runs alongside the show while it's live. But most importantly, if you would like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the shape of the Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show. Sharing increases the live audience, of course, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show. And one last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now, we are joined by P-Mars, Plain Truth, Ranty, Sleeping Warrior, Chocolate Saiyan, and Arwin. How are you all doing?
Live flat and prosper.
Excellent.
Doing good.
Doing good, good.
Did I miss anybody?
Don't think so.
Excellent. Anybody
Can you
found
share
any
that screen,
curvature?
Nate?
Any signs of curvature, anybody? Anybody?
Nothing, mate. Nothing.
I want to show Barracuda boat.
Oh, okay. But just before we do, has anybody found any signs of axial rotation? Anybody?
No, nothing, mate. Nothing. Been looking. Nothing.
Pressurized system next to a vacuum? Any signs of that yet?
Red's rhetoric can explain that one, apparently.
Really?
Yeah.
Have to see what he's got to say about that. Anybody else? Any more for any more? There's got to be more.
Proof of art?
Hello, Pele.
Gravity?
How you doing?
Oh, it's Rio. Keep Rio in. He's fine.
Okay. I don't know, Rio. It's good to have you, Rio.
Satellite?
You don't know who Rio is from East's chat?
No. Well, it's all never even shows the people who are in there, so I hear people's voices. When he speaks, I'll probably recognise him.
Come on, Rio. Get your microphone sorted. Normally you'd be kicked by now.
Right, we'll get to you in a second, Ranty, just to wrap up that little opening. So, the globe doesn't have a model. That's a pretty big deal to the globers who think pseudoscience models are really important. So, the globe doesn't have one. Bad news if you're a globe head. On to Barracuda boat!
This is Barracuda boat. I've named this Barracuda boat, but I'm looking for a name for my other one. This is Barracuda boat this morning.
That's not the ferry, is it? That looks like a really posh millionaire's boat.
That looks like a very nice boat.
Barracuda boat. It's coming to fight Shark boat.
It looks like Michael Schumacher's Formula One car from the mid-90s when it had that unusual nose cone. All right, maybe it doesn't look anything like Michael Schumacher's car, but the front of it does.
So what's this demonstrating, Ranty? Because there might be members of the audience that have no idea why you're showing it or the significance.
Okay, well, firstly, you need to try and tell me where you think the horizon is.
Perfect question. Can I use my mouse? You know where I'm going to point it. This is the horizon. Obviously, it's where the land meets the sky or the water meets the sky. That's the horizon, isn't it, Ranty, right?
Indeed.
Where the sea meets the you can't see what I'm pointing at. I'm pointing at the hard horizon.
Okay.
Is that the real horizon?
Yeah, because this is where you get the theodolite out and go measure with one simple sum the radius of the Earth, isn't it, Rumpus?
So yeah, in a nutshell, that's not the horizon. So what we have above it, going straight through the middle of the boat, is the actual horizon. It's the refractive point where you have a inferior mirage on top of the boat. That's all we're actually seeing. But this is debunking the fact that you can't actually see where the horizon is, especially at this kind of zoom. You might have a vague idea, but it certainly isn't anything you can use to measure stuff with. It's an apparent horizon.
And with the percentages that they're playing with to try and prove the curvature of the Earth, the smallest discrepancy of getting your horizon wrong completely destroys your math. So trying to find the horizon over water, it's almost impossible. So that's what I'm showing, and I'm also showing the effects of the air reflecting obviously the boat back on itself, and it's giving this kind of mouth structure at the front. So we have a name for that. That's barracuda boat. We have shark boat, but I'm looking for somebody to give me a name for this boat, which, where are we? Is this one here. So I was thinking, what about piranha boat with this one?
I quite like piranha boat.
That's a massive boat. Let's call that Mark Taylor.
I quite like piranha boat. That's good.
Piranha boat, yeah. I like.
It's got teeth, hasn't it? It's got to have something with teeth, and that's got teeth. It looks quite aggressive.
It does, and it's chubby and stocky like a piranha. I mean, I do have an image up of a piranha. I can perhaps show you. Let's see, piranha. So here we have a piranha. It's obviously teeth.
Oh, it looks quite
show
cute.
At some point.
It's quite
cute. Stubby. Yeah, I think piranha will do.
Piranha
Everyone
boat.
agrees. Put yes in the chat, and I'll upload this video for piranha boat. So then we'll have a few different boats that you can refer to show the effects of the miraging and the dirty air layer that sits just above the water. There we go. Happy days.
Nah, I really prefer rocket-powered duck boats.
I thought Mark Taylor had a good ring to it.
So what's your beef? I don't think that's got on this show. We haven't. You've mentioned Mark Taylor twice now, so I have to do this. What's your beef with Mark Taylor? What's the issue?
Last night in Easter's chat, obviously there was lots of back and forth about different topics, some of which you'd expect to be pegged, like the 93 million mile sun. But one of the issues that came up was Ranty getting the 3 a.m. phone calls from somebody that was obviously Mark Taylor, but he denied it until last night. But last night he admitted it, and he said that the reason why he did it was twofold. He said that Ranty had asked him to do it. So Ranty, for the record, can you just clarify whether at any point you asked Mark Taylor to ring you at 3 a.m. in the morning?
No, I have a terminally ill mother who's isn't long for this world, and the last thing I would want is anybody phoning up past 9 o'clock at night. So right. Certainly not 3 in the morning.
I said 9 o'clock as well. It was suggested 10:30, but I was always told as a kid, if you ring anybody after 9 o'clock, you can expect to get in trouble for it. So you said 9 o'clock as well, so maybe it's just a Northern England thing, but nonetheless.
I would never have asked him to call me anyway. Let's get that straight.
No, and then I asked him, if Ranty asked you for help on Flat Earth with something, like with regards to like an observation or even just holding something for him whilst he did something, would you do it? And he said no. So I was like, well, why would you ring him at 3 o'clock in the morning if you claim he asked you the way you claim he did? And it's because he thought, I don't know, he was just playing funny buggers, wasn't he? So let's just clear the record up, Mark. He never asked you to ring him at 3 o'clock in the morning. It's just it's either a fallacious lie or it's just wishful thinking. I don't think Ranty really cares that much about you, Mark. But the better point, which was that this is glorious, the justification for ringing you at 3 o'clock in the morning was compounded by his perception that you doxed him, right?
I knew
it. Said, why?
So he is the pervert postman.
Well, hang on a sec. I said, hang on. I said, what do you mean dox you, Mark? I said, how can he dox you? He said, because he keeps putting my address on, doesn't he, Riley? And I was like, well, that's not true, is it, Mark? I said, because when has he ever doxed you? And he said, well, he keeps putting up that article about the postman. I was like, right, so that means that you must be the pervert postman then, Mark. Yeah, he's right. Like, no. And I was like, well, he hasn't doxed you then, has he, you moron? And he's like, but yeah, but he's trying to dox me. And I'm like, yeah, but he hasn't done it, has he? Unless you're the postman.
I don't get it. If he's saying he's doxed him, then he's the pervert postman.
Yeah. But he's saying he's not the pervert postman.
Well, he's still so he's simultaneously saying that Ranty's doxing him, but he's not the pervert postman that Ranty's saying he is, i.e. doxing him.
Yeah, he wants it both ways. He wants to be the victim for being doxed, right? But he also doesn't want to be the pervert postman.
He doesn't want people to know he's a pervert postman, presumably, if that's the case. If he's saying he's being doxed and that's the information Ranty's giving out and he's crying foul on it, then he's got to be the pervert postman then, right?
Correct. So he wants it both ways. He doesn't want to be the pervert postman, but he does want to be the victim of being doxed. Who wants to be a pervert
postman, though? Let's be honest. If you were the pervert postman, would you, if someone doxed you and you were like, I don't like being doxed, well, neither would I if I was a pervert postman. I'm not a pervert postman. Of course, that's going to be your next line, isn't it?
Yeah. But then they behave just like the pervert postman.
Stalking people. Yeah.
Phone them up at night.
He basically has the MO of the guy, so it seems unlikely it's not him.
Let's be honest,
means proof by Globe standards.
If you type in the word postman, stalker postman, and find the Express, the Daily Express article on it, there's a photograph of the guy. And when you look at the photograph, it looks like the way Mark Taylor sounds. Now you look at it and you go, fucking hell, that well passes him.
Yeah, the guy looks like he's chewing a bag of marbles, doesn't he? So it does kind of look like it would sound like him.
Yeah. But the reality is, of course, like when you look at the MO of how it was described in the article of what was going on, he does things like sends a pair of underpants to, like dirty underpants as well, to Fern Cotton and people like that, celebs that, you know, like really no one gives a shit about, but nonetheless they are victims of it. And his defense was he thought it was a connection that he had with her and he thought it was funny. Now, it's just the way, that's just the way that Mark would behave. So let's get it clear. Ranty never asked you to ring him at 3 in the morning, Mark. And he didn't dox you, unless you want to admit to being the pervert postman, in which case I'm pretty sure Ranty will happily accept that he doxed you. So which is it? Are you the perverted postman, or did he not dox you? Because you can't have it both ways. You can't be a victim and complain that he's doxing you if you're the postman. So that puts that one to bed. Somebody
Mentioned in the chat that you actually destroyed everybody on their chat last night, in ISIS chat. So I think they were giving you a thumbs up for that.
Well, I went on about 10 o'clock, right? Maybe 9:30, 9:45, something like that. I don't know the exact time, but I went to bed at like quarter to 3 in the morning, and it was just continuous. It was relentless. I needed literally energy drinks. It was pure. It was like the olden days, to be honest. I really enjoyed it.
By night, you did, Riley.
I enjoyed it. I'll be honest.
So sitting, just doing a bit of work that Ranty had set me, listening to a bit of music, and then you kicked off. It was it's an interesting.
Well, I enjoy me and Jeremy. To be honest, me and Jeremy do enjoy the fight, the fallout, right? And we can actually say to each other afterwards, "See you later, pal. Have a good night." You know what I mean? We can be, but when it comes down to the fight at the time, it's raw. You know what I mean? It's like pouring salt on the wound because we want to win. And I love that about Jeremy. I do. I really do. However, he won't accept things that need to be accepted, like the terminology use in the articles that they're believing that is for the moon, you know, proving the distance of the sun and the moon and stuff. That terminology is not strong, but he won't accept it.
That was one of my better ones, actually. That was one of the classics last night, the astronomical unit. Well, it is theoretical, but we've used it so long now that it's real.
Yeah. Science by consensus is a thing in their world. Barbara McGill says, Riley, you don't accept things. Don't you mean accept things? Not accept things? I don't accept your typographical, grammatical mistake there, Barbara.
Isn't it Arwen that accepts things?
No, Arwen never accepts things.
Not accepts.
Oh, accepts. Oh, yeah, Arwen accepts things. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm just exceptional.
Nice.
No, I never make that mistake, ever. I know the difference.
Peanut says, wait, how did Mark Taylor get Ranty's number? Well, I got blamed for it. Apparently, I gave it to him accidentally somehow. I don't know how I did it, but and I didn't ask, but apparently I gave it him. Yeah, so that's how you'd behave with someone's phone number. If it did happen the way he says, accidentally, inadvertently, yeah, that's how you blame me for all your other wrongdoings thereafter. Really? Okay, then that's my fault then, right?
Well,
P-Mars is a porn bomber. Yeah, I always let him on the panel.
Sorry, just before you let that...
Christian.
Sorry, just before you let that roll out there, would that not just have the simple but for rule applied to it? But for the fact that you presumably put his phone number out accidentally? No?
I don't know, mate. If that's the authority for the behaviour from Mark Taylor, that I somehow am to blame for it by accidentally doxing him, notwithstanding the fact that if you realise that he was accidentally doxed, that doesn't mean that you can use that then and blame me for it because of your own mistake, your own wrongdoings. I am not responsible for your actions, Mark. You are. Anyway, Nathan, do you want to respond to that one from Christian? P-Mars is a porn bomber, yet you always let him on the panel at Sleeping Warrior.
Well, firstly, that's horseshit. P-Mars may have porn bombed someone. I've never actually asked him. And if he has, I would be pretty certain that when I ask him in 30 seconds' time, he'll just say, yeah, didn't I admitted to it. That doesn't make him a, like, plurific porn bomber. What it does mean is that people continually accuse him of doing it because he's been honest enough once to actually be a man and confess to his wrongdoings. Unlike all the globeheads at the moment who've made a very big mistake with perspective but haven't had a single concession or retraction from any of them. So yeah, anyway, P, maybe you can back me up or say no, I just lie all the time and porn bomb people.
Well, I shared a link with someone who porn bombed. I asked the person not to do that. Like, I don't condone porn bombing, but I mean, like, it doesn't really matter what I say. Like, everyone just says I'm a porn bomber and they believe it. So whatever. I guess I'll just be a porn bomber.
I don't believe it.
Yeah,
I'll be honest. I'm happy to attribute the title to you, because
new people who come to this community, they get warned that I'm a porn bomber by multiple people. So it's just out there.
By
And
who?
people think that.
By who?
I don't know who's doing it, but there's flat Earth people that are telling anyone who comes in the community that I'm a porn bomber and to watch out for.
Who is?
I don't
who's
know.
doing that?
Just
I know there's
trolls.
Then how do you know that
trolls.
anyone is doing that?
Because there's a guy named Staggerson who's new to the community, and he told me that he was warned by multiple people that I'm a porn bomber.
Well,
So-
ask him to name
and
some
I've heard-
names next time.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it
Like,
does. Yeah, it does, because it
there's
sounds
sock
like
accounts.
just
probably
so
sock accounts.
story. Just like he
Just so
made up the-
story. Why would I make this up?
No,
dude?
not you. The guy that told you.
He's not making it up.
Oh,
Dude,
how
I
do
see
you
people
know?
accused because
How
I
do you
see
know?
people accused. I've been accused of this shit for a long time.
I
By
love how
who?
It's been
I love how
happening.
Owen's so
By
contrarian that
everyone.
he's
By, like,
denying the accusation
I don't
that's a
know.
negative
By
accusation.
You've been
who?
exposed.
Who
You've been
is accusing you?
exposed.
You don't know
Bro
his name.
Sanchez. Who else? Project Eli. I don't know. There's been a lot of people that accuse me of
Okay.
that.
Well, I don't know any of them, so maybe.
That needs some expansion though. It's Project Eli that you gave out her link and then she got porn bombed, correct?
no, Sean won it.
No. Sean Hufford.
Oh my
It
bad.
was Sean Hufford.
Sean
Yeah,
Hufford's-
Sean was being a jerk to me on his panel, so I wanted to just kind of like lightheartedly troll him. Like I don't want to shut people's channels down and porn bomb them or anything. I just kind of wanted to like join and be annoying or
Yeah, we noticed.
I'm not like malicious.
I get it. You don't have to explain any further than that. I get it.
I was over at Dred's hangout yesterday, and apparently he's changed his position now. He's going to be able. He's quite happy for everybody that goes over to his channel to be given a wrench, and if he'll have an open panel debate platform where he'll put the link out publicly, a bit like you're doing, Nathan. And the ballers are welcome. They'll be treated with great respect, etc., etc. So, just thought I would let
Well, I
people
wonder
know.
how long that is gonna last.
Probably not very long.
My chopper
I
bigger
guess
than you.
2 days. That's probably too much. So what did you say, Pete?
Oh, is you talking about you've been exposed doing that? Because that guy,
Yeah.
Dread.
that won't last long.
Well, I can't see him being a nice, polite, respectable, friendly guy.
Right?
Nathan struggles.
He
and
has
it's-
his moods when he's in a good mood, but usually that doesn't last long. He just gets angry about something, and then everything
Yeah, Nathan
just
will come out
changes
looking
all
like
of a
an
sudden.
angel. Nathan will end up looking like an angel if Dredd manages to pull that one off for more than a month. By the way, there's a question in chat that I want to address. Where is it gone now? David Reed, where is it? I asked him to keep repeating the message so I didn't lose it. Oh, where is it gone? David Reed, my computer keeps freezing. Might take me a while to find this damn thing. David, please repost it so I can find it. Oh, where is it? David Reed says, quote, "Ballers, why don't you understand perspective?" Now, that's the question really that we need to be addressing. Why don't the ballers understand perspective? I actually think they do get it. I think that they realize that there is no adjustment in the maths and it needs to be there. But I also think that they're hoping that this is going to get swept under the mat, forgotten about, and it'll go away.
No
Well,
way.
Nathan, do you think it's
Does
going to go
what-
away, Nathan?
But do we observe perspective when we?
Yeah, you've got eyes,
Yeah.
haven't you?
When you observe perspective.
But like if you were to take a picture, right, of
Yeah,
the Earth,
You observe
anywhere.
perspective.
Can I do a
Yeah,
quick
you said you
demonstration with you,
you
Pete?
draw on the lines for perspective, they wouldn't. They
It's an
wouldn't.
easy
If you're
demonstration.
taking a picture,
Let's
then
just take
you
P miles
are
through it. So
observing
P,
perspective. If you're gonna draw lines over them, yeah, that's fine. But the picture is gonna be in perspective.
just for a second, P, put your finger up in front of your face and hold it maybe an inch or two away from your eyes. Just one finger. Can you do this for me? Yeah, that'll do.
Not
Right
the
now,
middle finger, though.
put the finger Now put the finger closer to the camera and tell me if it gets smaller. So move the finger. Is it getting smaller? You're on mute.
The angular size is significantly increased.
For us, it's increased, but for Pete, it's decreased because it's all down to the viewer. So we're seeing his finger get bigger. He's seeing it get smaller. The magic of perspective.
But do you know what? If we did it orthographically on the Metabunk curve calculator, it wouldn't show that. It would show the finger being the same size to all observers from the side perspective.
Exactly.
No, it would come up from the curve to our perspective, and it would go down the curve from his.
It would have a
Yeah, that's
slightly
right.
looming non-standard refraction hyena somewhere involved, I'm sure.
And actually, when he moved it in a straight line towards the camera, that would actually be a curve on the Metabunk calculator.
Yeah, so to answer your P, yeah, it doesn't matter what you're doing. If you're observing anything ever through any medium, eyeballs or camera, it's always subject to perspective without exception.
Yeah, the finger is the same size, but perspectively, it's different.
I was saying, like, if you take the lines and draw to where the vanishing point is, the vanishing point won't match where the horizon is, right?
Yeah, that is the horizon.
No, I mean it won't. They don't match. Like that's what I thought.
It depends on how far you can see in that view.
You are
Apparently,
right, actually, Pete.
Are ballers still saying that, or is the accepted horizon still like supposed to be 3 miles away or some silly shit like that?
It depends on your altitude.
And that's clearly
Yeah.
stupid because we see
That-
things a whole lot further away.
Well, there is the little thing of the apparent horizon and the actual horizon in long views. So that
But the
does
reason-
kind of happen.
The reason you see things far away is because they're like they have a height, right? And they're sticking up above the curve of the Earth, right?
No, above
Yeah,
the
but
vanishing point, P. Above the vanishing point.
Why does it? If the horizon is the vanishing point, why does it change based on the observer's altitude?
You alter your angle.
After a certain point, diffraction starts to happen, and that causes the apparent slant. And everything behind that is not high enough will be vanished in the vanishing zone. And there will be miraging applied to that band directly where it starts to vanish. That's what we see in Ranty's video so many times.
Arwen's been saying this for months. He just gets ridiculed. So people dismiss what he's been saying, even though it's absolutely correct. The other guy who said it originally was Arev. You know, he did it with a crude drawing, but the concept was sound. He understood it. And then since then, we've had nothing but elaborations and better depictions of it from people like Chris Monk. And it's documented. Anybody can do it. Circle of confusion. Just do a Google search. Circle of confusion is this zone where if you zoom in, surveyors recognise this term because it's an effect that you see always. If you look out at distance, you will see this effect of a zone behind another zone which is effectively invisible to you. So in the case of the Isle of Man, you look out at 30 miles and below the lighthouse, everything that's below is invisible. You can't see anything. Where's the beach? Well, it's not there. It's obscured, right? We all know it. We all admit it. You can't see it. Well, that's because it is in the circle of confusion, which is something that everybody will take into effect. It might not. The atmospheric conditions might not even let you see that. On some days, you can't see anything. You can't see your hand in front of your face if it's foggy. But you know what I'm getting at. Given clear enough conditions, you'll see the circle of confusion, and it's based on your angle of elevation versus the target and the convergence point. That's it.
I think the ballers know this now. I mean, we've shown more than enough proof of this effect in real-world observations time and time and time again. They understand it, they just don't want to admit it.
I'm not too sure if they really do understand it.
I don't think they do either.
I think most of them understand it, but they'll ignore it. It's like the key words that we used in that document that, for the 93 million mile sun. They note, Jeremy notices that the key words that are there are not strong words. Like perceived, denounce, whatever the words were. They were weak words.
Accepted.
Yeah, accepted. Deduced. These are words that don't make the point strongly, and he knows that. But he has to argue it because he believes vehemently that they know the distance to the sun. Now, like I say, I've not looked into that argument for at least 12 months, and you just expect that the ballers have it pegged, but they don't. So if you're a flat earther out there, just ask the question: what's the difference? How do you know the distance to the sun? And then whatever they come back at you at, just challenge it. Say, well, where's the proof? Where is the evidence of the measurement that did it? And they will always...
Imagination, Riley. Come on. A 10-year-old can do this.
They'll always go back to Kepler's third law, which is the astronomical unit of the AU, the astronomical unit, and then just ask them, well, where was the measurement for the AU? Because it's a relative term. But it's one of the first questions that flat earthers will be asking. Well, how do they know the distance to the celestial bodies? And the answer still is there doesn't appear to be the evidence for it.
They haven't got evidence for anything.
No.
It's all
consensus is a thing. Oh, by the way, that reminds me that IFTH says, by the way, the lighthouse is at Machold, which is pronounced Machold. We're going to have to reconsider that lighthouse, Nathan, because when we apply the rules of perspective, when we work out what the mass is meant to be, we all know what's going to happen, but let's just see how big the problem is, because now we know that they could bring back the tippy tops of it if they applied a load of refraction. Well, let's see what happens if they apply perspective, because, well, how far behind the curve is it realistically going to be? It's going to be huge distances.
I'm glad you've said this, but I've been saying this for 2 days. I've been, Ranty even disclaimed it in his last presentation. Nathan's going to jump down my throat for flogging this dead horse. It's like, yeah, I said it as the summary with my smug face on at the end of the last show. None of them are right. None of them. The Globers have got it all wrong because they've got a broken model. Their model doesn't work, so they haven't got a model. So not only have they haven't got a model, and they've presented what has been debunked. Yeah, they've presented that ad nausea again and again for the last 3 years that I've witnessed with my own eyes on these hangouts. So all of these idiots, they've all got it wrong. None of them have accounted for perspective in any photo ever compared to mathematics based on the standard globe model of Earth. None of them have got it right.
So, Arwin, can you just remind everybody what percentage of predictions or observations has Rumpus got incorrect?
0.
0.
No,
none.
He's got 100. 100% are incorrect.
100% wrong.
Oh, sorry. I thought you said correct.
Sorry, no. So every single observation or claim that Rumpus has made has been wrong. Every single one, and he claims Ranty has got everything that wrong. No, Rumpus has got it wrong.
Oh, I would love to act like Rumpus, but I could never do it credit the way he does it. He would just straight out deny it. No, Riley, you are 100% incorrect, and I was 100% correct, and just an idiot. You don't understand maths. And...
Oh, just to let you know as well, I've just been told that Simon Dan is watching the show. So Simon Dan, please join us. Let's have a chat with you because there's some outstanding business with you.
Yeah, I've got some outstanding business with him.
Yeah, apparently he gets a right. If you call him smug or arrogant, he doesn't like it. So come on, Simon Dan.
Simon, you smug, arrogant. Get in here.
Yeah, how smug and arrogant are you?
Hey, but Riley, remember the last time Rumpus came on, when this perspective thing came up, he said we would all be so embarrassed in a month's time when we realized that we were completely wrong.
Yeah, and let's
so I wonder where his rebuttal is going to be. Is it?
Well, we're still waiting for
working on it, just like that other video that he's been working on now for 1.5 months. It is.
Yeah. The missing curvature of 700 feet for the north part of the hills at Bride in the north of Isle of Man. We're still waiting for that as well, Rumpus.
Oh, that reminds me. From memory, Rumpus said he was putting out a website based on his per pixel measurement and how accurately he'd done all this maths with the Isle of Man. Just to remind Rumpus, in light of what we've just said, none of it's right. So that website, that needs to be taken down. Double quick pronto, you bloody fraud. So let's get that website that you've worked so very hard on. That needs to get taken down because it's wrong. Yeah, it's been shown, Rumpus.
No, that's not true. He
wrong.
Needs to officially put a disclaimer at the bottom.
Retraction.
Saying that it's not actually correct.
Yeah, not to scale. That's what it needs. Objects on this website appear bigger than what they actually are in real life.
Yeah. We need a little disclaimer and a retraction for all your errors, Rumpus. So all these rubbishy, fictitious, fraudulent websites that you've put up, claiming curvature when you don't even understand perspective. Just another perspective denier. Right, guys? I think that's what this label's going to be. Oh, in that moment. I think we've got a lot of perspective deniers.
Come on, Cryman Dan. I want to talk about this image of yours.
Yeah, non-Simon Dan. I'd like to speak to you as well. I mean,
No, it's Cryman. It's Cryman Dan.
I prefer non-Simon Dan because he's claiming that he's from the science world, isn't he? And then he does an overlay that's like a 5-year-old would realize that didn't match.
How do you know he's watching?
I want to discuss this.
How do you know he's watching? How do you know he's watching?
I've just been told in chat, so in private message.
All right. Okay.
He has his sources.
I don't want to reveal my source, but he's watching apparently.
I see.
Oh, come on, Si. I want you to come in.
Why? You've already demolished his argument. Like, literally ripped it to shreds.
I know, but I went back and I did the 39 observation and I compared it, and then I compared his, and I've nailed it down.
So the panel is full, so he can't really come in at this point.
That's all right. We can. I'm sure somebody.
So,
Flat can you drop? Maybe.
No. Let's see if he agrees to come in first.
Oh right, fair enough.
So perspective is like a technique in drawing to make a 2D image appear 3-dimensional, correct?
Perspective is a lot more than just a technique, bro.
Yeah, it's a bit more than that.
See, with perspective.
That is if you want to emulate perspective in a drawing.
Or to put it another way, make a drawing look real.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the word perspective is it's about art.
No, it's not. That's just what they taught you in high school while they simultaneously told you that you lived on spinning ball pea.
No. Well,
yeah, perspective's real. It doesn't just apply to art. Perspective is very much real. Oh, God, have I got to go through this again? Every man, woman, child, camera, camcorder, or video-taking piece of equipment ever created or used in history did take into account perspective when they hit the record button, when they press the shutter, or when they open their eyelids. It is a fact of life, P.
You're like okay, there's multiple definitions to the word, right? And it seems like you're mixing up the artistic definition with the definition of just like someone's viewpoint.
Pete, can you say what it is that you don't understand about perspective? Like, tell us what it is you don't. Be specific.
I mean, I don't understand anything about perspective.
That's not
but I'm trying to figure out. I'm trying to figure out like what you guys mean. Like, are you guys talking about an artistic drawing technique?
Can I try? So if you imagine for a moment, P, that you've got a toy cow in your hand, and you hold that cow up, and it's about 1 inch high, right? And you look at it, and then you hold it up to the window, and for the sake of argument, you look out the window, and there's a field full of cows. Now you hold that toy cow up to the cows in the field, and they look like they're about the same size, but they're not. One is big and far away, and one is close and small. But because of perspective, they look relatively the same size, even though they're not.
Okay.
So one, even though it's big, can look small because it's far away.
Okay, but Nathan, perspective doesn't... It's not like evidence of a flat Earth because it would look the same on a curved surface, right?
No. See, on a curved surface, Ranty, any chance you can bring up your pictures of the wind turbines again? On a curved surface, P, things would curve, right? But what we actually see in demonstration is things fall perfectly in line with perspective. Everything follows the rules of perspective. So even where the 8 inches per mile square calculation says we should see an exponential drop at distance, we just see everything falling in line with perspective, going at a regular standard rate.
Okay, but that doesn't mean anything because we will see the same thing on a flat or curved. It's going to look the same because of perspective.
No, not really. It wouldn't.
I just said you see a curve, Pete.
Yeah, it would.
Right, here we go. Can you see Ranty's screen?
Yes, it would.
Can you see Ranty's screen?
Yeah.
It's going to take a little bit of explanation, so bear with me. So what you're seeing going from right to left on the screen is wind turbines getting further and further into the distance. Now, they're all the same size in actual terms. They all measure the same height if you're stood next to them.
Same size.
Just hear me out, Pete. We'll take a little bit of explaining. Just bear with me. So if you were stood next to one of these turbines and you ran a tape measure down it, they would all physically measure the same height. However, it's visually obvious on screen that they're not. They are getting smaller as they go down this line. Now, if it was going over a curve, they would be curved. But
yeah, they
not.
are curved. Here's your problem, Nathan. They're not getting smaller.
What's going on with this picture?
You can tell.
I'm new to.
You can tell they're not getting smaller by looking at the arms on the wind turbine. So, like, you got to figure out.
What do you mean by smaller, Pete? What do you mean by smaller? Because what you're saying.
Nice.
So when you say
Nathan is saying they're being obstructed. They're not being obstructed. They're just getting smaller. But that's
Guys,
ridiculous.
I just realized something.
What?
Like, compare the ratios. Like,
What is that image, though? What is that picture? That picture looks very strange. It looks like it's been altered.
It's taken from a video that I showed before.
Guys, I just realized something about Ranty's pictures. Why he can actually see so incredibly far from just 1 foot height, while if you hold it on while you're standing up and then filming, why you then can't see it.
Go on.
Well, I just realized it. Well, we know that the apparent slant migrates depending on the viewer height. So what that means is that if you go low enough, then the slant will come closer. So he's so low down to the ground that he actually looks over the edge of the apparent slant. That's what it is. That's why you can see so far suddenly.
Okay, guys. This image that you're looking at, you had been looking at, is along this line of sight, along these wind turbines. So the nearest turbine, the one on the right, is the one closest to you. And then another third of a mile down the road is the next one, third of a mile, third of a mile, third of a mile. So approximately 2 miles further down the line is this turbine here on the left. So as we're looking down that line of sight, this is what we're seeing. We're seeing that's the nearest turbine, biggest one. And then 2 miles further away in an almost direct line is this one.
I'm trying to figure out what's going on with the water, though. Why is the water so high on the horizon where those turbines are? Is it just the water itself?
So what we do know is that the air mimics the water. We've seen it on lots of my videos where we see a boat cresting the horizon, and you will actually see the air mimicking the water. It isn't really water that's there. A lot of this is just air.
Yeah, what Ranty's trying to say is that it's not always like that. Sometimes it is like that, and it does look like curve, and we get it. But other times it doesn't look like that, and it's obviously optical. But when it suits, it's claimed to be ball curve. But they don't accept that they call it refraction when it appears to be flat. But the effect that we can identify is present in some of the pictures. Most of the pictures is when the horizon appears to rise higher than where it actually is. That's consistent with something called a Fata Brumosa mirage. So it's like the opposite of an inferior mirage, where you get the sky being reflected on the horizon. It's the water being reflected above the horizon, so it makes the horizon appear higher. So that's called a Fata Brumosa.
What I just explained, that does make sense. It does make sense if you are low down to the ground enough. Like if you were saying a hunter with the binoculars, they lay on the ground and they look into the very far distance because that becomes possible. Well, if you're just walking around, then your sight is limited because of the slant that is farther away, making you unable to look over it.
Okay, what are the turbines in the distance, though? They look like they're dropping below the water surface, and then there's turbines that are closer to us, right? Is that correct?
That's correct, yeah.
Okay.
Visually obvious, but yeah, go on.
So I'll show you where they are in relation to each other.
Hold on, Ranty. I think there was a point that went along with that opening statement.
These are the nearer turbines.
Sorry, Ranty. Ranty, bear with me. Yeah. Ranty, I think the chap that was just speaking probably had a point attached to what he just said, so can you just let him get to the end? You got about 10 seconds. Maybe he hasn't, and I'm going to be made very foolish now, but did you have a point that you wanted to add on to the end of that?
Who?
Me?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, I know. I don't. I'm trying to figure out why it looks the way it does. Look, I'm on the plain Earth. All right. I don't believe that that's a curve going on over here, but I'm trying to figure out what the illusion is exactly at this distance. You know, I mean,
angular
Diffraction
size.
induced with the
Yeah.
slant.
Can I have a bash
Are
at
you
that?
guys?
Can I have a bash?
Yeah,
you
sure.
go ahead. You go on first, Pete. Go ahead.
A mirage is obstructing these.
I'm wondering why the distance.
Hello.
You broke up at the wrong moment. Do you want to try that again?
Yes, I'm wondering why the turbines at a distance are much lower than the ones that are closer to us. I mean, maybe that's water pressure and it's just a high tide or whatever. And I just the optics there for me it's I can see how people will believe, oh, that's the curvature and it's slanting over the curve or whatever. But you know, I'm not on that playing field. I'm on the plane, so I'm trying to figure out why the optics are the way they are.
Diffraction. It's a slant induced by diffraction, and it's set after a certain distance, and after that point, things will go behind the apparent curve, behind the slant, and start to become obscured, bottom up.
Well, this is a perspective view. So,
what is obscuring them, though? That's what I wonder.
Well, what we have is a
looks like the water.
view. Yeah, we have a perspective view, and this
Why
is
would the water's flat? Why would the water?
Hold on, Ranty. Let Ranty go.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, I took this video, and I see this all the time. What we have is we have the clear full turbine in the foreground, and we have turbines behind. But what happens is, obviously, this is twice as far away, these turbines in the distance, and then they're incrementally getting further and further and further away. So twice as far away, obviously, due to perspective, this turbine should be half the height. So if you come across to this turbine here, and you look at it, and you would just, you wouldn't be too far off saying that's half the height. But half the height also means that you're taking the lower part of the turbine blade, this part, will start to hitting the dirty air at this position here, where the cursor is.
No, it's the convergence point. You did this last time.
The circle of confusion. The circle of confusion is here, right? And perspectively, so now we're getting further. They're getting smaller as they go further away. They're getting blended into this circle of confusion down here, and eventually they will disappear due to perspective, as opposed to going over a curve, evidenced by the straight lines going through the hub.
Perfect. Can I have a bash now? Can I have a go?
Yes.
Even if I can make a little point, even the wind turbines in the foreground are not completely 100% visible, because they're still, the bottom part of it is also behind the slant.
Okay. So if you imagine that you've got an item, I did this example on the last show. So if you have something, just for easy numbers, this is not trying to claim to match reality, but for sake of argument, 20 miles is your distance. And let's pretend that something that is 50 feet high disappears from view due to angular size at 20 miles. So in other words, it's gone completely. In the same way, you can imagine that if you had wind turbines following this line, the bottom line, from right to left, that eventually it would be gone at a given height. So in this example, we've got something that's 50 feet high, and at 20 miles, it's vanished, right? But that's not to say that something that's 60 foot high wouldn't be seen above the circle of confusion. But that doesn't mean that you suddenly get the 50 feet that you've lost back. They're still gone because of angular size reduction at distance. So we have a layer of, as Anthony showed on, I can't remember if it's the last show or this show, but with the various boats that show you that you've got a band of horizon, the circle of confusion, that obscures things behind it in a certain amount. And then you have the angular size reduction at distance, where something at, again using my example, 50 foot high would be gone. But the thing above it, everything above 50 foot is still visible above the circle of confusion. Doesn't mean you get back the bottom half of these wind turbines. They're still gone because of their angular size.
That makes no sense.
It makes perfect sense.
How does that make
I feel like
sense?
it's a light. I feel like the light is doing something here.
No,
The light's
it
doing
makes no
something through
sense.
the atmosphere.
It's like nonsensical because
How
like,
does
first
that
of
make
all,
no sense?
I'll try it again.
Well-
No, it's fair enough, Pete. I'll try it one more time. So if you've
No,
got
explain why it's
No,
retarded.
don't-
What you're saying is
don't
fucking
don't.
retarded.
You can't try with this
You
guy.
are a
You don't
retard.
like.
No,
You guys
I'd
don't
rather
understand.
hear
Like, you can't try with
P.
this guy. You
Let's
can't
just hear-
explain anything to him.
But he
Look,
might-
I
he
understand
might
what
have
you're
a
saying.
reasonable
I
objection.
see that
I
the
only
light.
understand your nigger talk.
I'd
You
rather
talk like
hear-
a nigger to me.
Come on,
Talk
calm
like a
down.
nigger to me. you fucking
P.
nigger.
Listen to you.
P.
You
Have
guys,
you got a reasonable
P.
objection?
All right.
Have you got a
The
reasonable
light
objection?
T-Bars, are you serious right now?
He was very
I
serious.
hate
He's a
fucking
clown.
niggers.
Oh,
Look,
come
Fuck
on.
the
look.
niggers.
Oh,
Roseanne
P.
Barr is the best.
Hey, will somebody boot him? Because
Yeah.
he's
No
done
need to
for
swear.
like, you know, people that behave like this in the globe Earth model. You add a total different, like a negative thing for your whole thing. All right, it's done. You guys do not have an argument for us. That's the problem. Is that your argument is always saying stupid shit that no one wants to hear. I think I understand how the lightings work on those wind turbines and why they do that. I've seen that before. Now that I reflect, the light through the atmospheric pollution, I think is causing that type of visual effect on the not the foreground, but the turbines beyond. I think I've seen that before, so it's making sense.
Well, let me put it a different way, P. Oh, he's not here now. I know he's gone, but if it was
Have you seen this boat?
Hey, Jason.
Just one sec. If it was the curvature of the Earth, the mountains that are behind when it's got Isle of Man behind it would be consistently behind the curve of the Earth with them, but the mountains are consistent with a flat plane. Now, if it was the curve of the Earth, then mountains wouldn't actually exist because of the curvature. So it's clearly not curvature that we're seeing. It's clearly optical in some way. Exactly. Who cares? No science on a flat Earth, right? We just need to point out that the mountains shouldn't be there behind if it was actual curve.
Yeah, I'll try with another example again. So you take a stone. It's not rather than to make 50 feet or wind turbines. If you take a little stone and you pop it down and you just start walking away from it, eventually it'll get to the point where the stone disappears because it's too small to see. Its angular size is so small that it cannot be seen. So you pick up your zoom and you zoom in on it and you can still see it. But eventually, even with a zoom camera, you will get so far away from that item that it has gone below the convergence point. In other words, its size doesn't matter anymore. It's too small to see. But that's not to say that if you stick a lollipop stick on top of the stone, you won't see the lollipop stick, which is you've suddenly increased its angular size. Therefore, you can see the lollipop stick, but that doesn't mean the stone is suddenly visible. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Hey, Jason.
Hey, Jason.
Am I still displaying, Nathan?
You are.
I am, right. So essentially, anything below my cursor now and up to where these apparent waves are here, anything in this position, anything in here, we wouldn't see behind it. We can't see anything behind it at all. We never do, because it's blocked out. It's reflecting the sky and it's reflecting the water, and it's blocking out everything else in the background. So that's exactly what's happening with the bottom of the turbines.
There's one more effect to add. So this is I know for a fact that this is relatively calm, although it doesn't look it because he's at full zoom. However, this is a very calm day. And with the other example that Ranty showed right from the beach, literally as he's filming, you've got little tiny droplets of water splashing up from 3 or 4 inches in front of his camera lens, and they're blocking out whole buildings. Literally. A tiny droplet of water in the near foreground, again back to perspective, can block out something in the background. So that's where you have what Ranty calls the hard horizon, which is all the stuff that you do actually see raising up to a certain level, and then the stuff behind it converging. So we still have the effect of things in the foreground obscuring things in the background, and it can just be one wave, or, as is the case, a massive multitude of lots of little droplets of water splashing up, depending on how choppy it is. That's what gives you the hard horizon. But that's, again, misleading, because that combined with the optical slant, the point of convergence, the circle of confusion, it all adds up to being able to co-opt into curvature if you ignore these very effects, i.e. the effects of perspective.
We see it here in this video. This is the turbines are behind this boat. So behind, if I pause it right now, can you see how the turbine blades are looking like they're curving and being pulled down?
Yeah, in other words, there's not enough chop in the water to obscure the circle of confusion. So you can actually see what's blocking it. So what you're seeing on screen now, this is the obstruction. But if there's a few more waves, it'll obscure enough of the view. So number one, you wouldn't see the bottom mirage on the boat. Number two, you wouldn't see the wind turbines behind miraging down on themselves. I'm just going to highlight this for the audience. So you can see the bottom of the blade and then a mirror image. Well, if there was a wave here splashing up, yeah, it's much closer, but it would be enough to obscure to about this height. And what you're left with is turbines looking like they're going into the water. Well, no, it's just something in the foreground splashing up, combined with this, which is actually called the circle of confusion, and it creates at the convergence point a mirage. And we're verbalizing this as we are coming to understand it ourselves. So this is raw, and we're not going to be concise in the way we're explaining this. But, you know, we have discussed this on and off air at length, and I'll back Anthony up 100%. There's no science for a flat earth. You know, we're figuring out what the school teachers told you. Perspective is just to do with art. And boats go over the curve, by the way. Well, no. Nobody's actually accounted for this. Nobody's actually documented this. Because every time it is documented, it's called curvature. Not true.
Nathan, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. I love what you've been doing recently. And that was a great win for Flat Earth, Nathan. That was great debating. You held Milk West down to the point, and fantastic win. But this topic of perspective here, I love that you're admitting that we're just learning things. And if we're all truth seekers, we should be working together to find the truth about these things. I just want to put out there that Ronnie Harris of the Limitless channel has a video on perspective that explains all of this, that if somebody can find a flaw in it, that would be amazing. That video is what we would hold up in any debate as to being the truth as far as how perspective works. And we want it put to task. We want it to be corrected if there is anything to be corrected in it. So if this discussion on perspective continues, I feel that this is something that has to be addressed and either accepted as being the truth or discredited in some way.
Oh, this is beautiful. So this is it. This is a massive, massive band of the circle of confusion. You can see exactly what's going on, how we are deceived into thinking we're seeing things we're not. But if there was enough chop at this distance, it would obscure the circle of confusion. It would obscure all of this refraction. You wouldn't see it, and it would just look like stuff had disappeared behind the curve of the Earth. That's what it would be claimed to be. And you can see what's happening on screen. You know, there is an inversion layer, not disappearing behind any curve. It's flat as a pancake. The fact that we can see it at all, now that we know that they don't account for perspective, means that it's flat. Just the fact that we can assert that now happily, without fear of anything from ballers and their stupid presuppositional curve maths. You can just say the fact we can see these at all is because it's flat. You wouldn't see them if it wasn't flat. Simple. The effects that we get at these massive zooms, yeah, we can study those at detail too. That's probably why we've got flat Earth in our midst at the moment. It's probably because of this technology. You know, it used to hold up. People would look out and see a boat going over the horizon with their naked eye, and it would, if you roughly worked it out with crappy optics, which was available 100 years ago, you might be able to see a bit further. But ultimately speaking, it held true. So no one questioned it. Now we're looking at this stuff and we're having to get into the presuppositional begging the question mathematics to prove it. And then when that fails, they start adding on 7/6 refraction to make the ball a bit bigger to make it work, make it a bit less bally. And it's all bollocks. You know, we can see it now. We're just trying to figure out what actually happens at these massive zoom lengths. Most of it's down to atmospheric conditions. Most of it's down to perspective. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, so perspective all happens within our circle of sight. Can we agree on that, that it doesn't happen beyond our circle of sight?
No, it happens everywhere.
But to each observer, our perspective is is all that we have, and that is a limited distance, you know, based on elevation, that it's in a 3 to 20 mile range. Let's say that would cover most situations, unless if we're super elevated. But can we all agree that everything disappears as we move farther away from it, from the bottom up, and as we move closer to things, it appears from the top down, and that it's elevation and distance, and that it's circles of sight? So that is what we stand on as being true. Is there anybody that disagrees with that statement?
That pretty much describes the optical slant effect.
Well,
What do you mean by
always, like
slant
P.
effect?
Mars will tell you they don't understand it. They're idiots.
The way you described it, it's pretty much the same as I described it, Nathan. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, can I just show you a couple diagrams that Ronnie has from the video, so that we all have something to look at and argue about if we want?
Sure.
Okay. So I'm sharing screen, and just let me know when this comes through.
Yeah, you're up.
Okay. All right. So the way Ronnie has this diagrammed out is with a story pole and then concentric circles relating to elevations on the story pole. And so can we all agree that number one, this highest point here would have the largest circle of sight, and then as we went down lower and lower on the story pole, that the circle of sight would become smaller?
Oh, it depends on the air clarity, but to translate it into my system, the higher up you go, the further away the optical slant migrates into the distance. So in that sense, yes. But technically, if the air would be clear enough, you could see an unlimited distance, depending on the height of the objects in the distance.
Unlimited? Let's keep in mind the distance.
Depending on the height.
I think what Arwen's trying to say is yes. Like,
well,
Yeah,
I don't know.
He's say that exact phrase.
No, but
he's using words like slant.
Literal distance from the observer can technically be unlimited, but the further away you go, the more objects will be slanted down in a straight angle the further you go. So eventually only super high objects combined with a very clear sky would be visible at extreme distances.
What do you think is the farthest that a human being can see?
Well, do you mean in terrestrial, or do you mean space?
That depends on the resolution of the eye of the person, really.
Well, there are reports that we can see mountains at 300 miles in Antarctica.
Yeah, but that those have been discredited and debunked.
Oh, I didn't know that.
The farthest, so the optical zoom of the P900 is the best that we have on Earth. It's 2,000 millimeter. You can go farther distance.
I think maybe about
Ronnie wants to say something.
Riley, could we not just say, like, as a rule of thought?
We're not explaining
the higher you go.
The reason why objects are blocked on the horizon, buildings. Like,
No.
you're not explaining the diagram. You're off on the P900s.
No, I the reason why I'm doing this is I wanted to get confirmation that we agree that the higher we go, the circle of sight is the largest at the high point and the smallest at the small point. And now I can start
with
moving
that,
along.
Technically, I disagree, because there is no limit to sight. There's only a limit to the resolution. But
what's
things
the
will be
farthest
obscured
thing that you can
behind
see?
the slant when you are close to the ground.
Arwen, when in your area, what is the farthest thing that you can see from you?
Well, I'm kind of in a city area, so that's not too far.
Right. What would you say? 3 miles?
I would say 100
I have absolutely no idea. I can see the clock tower at the center, the city. It's clear enough.
Yeah, and then if you went to the top of the tallest building in your city, what is the farthest that you could see?
150 miles, roughly.
I have no idea, but yeah, if Riley says so, I'd have
Well, no,
to test that.
let's take a city like Calgary that's real close to the Rockies, super tall mountains. These are like
You know what?
over
I can
14,000
have
feet.
an
So
example. I can have an example that I
you can't see those at 40 miles.
I was in the Sagrada Familia in one of its higher spires, and I did actually at one time see the beach to the east. So, and that's pretty far away from that.
How far?
I don't know exactly, but it is pretty far away.
Is it 20 miles, 30 miles?
Probably a lot more.
I think the most we can realistically get away with, like, credibly, if you look at that Canigou thing, I think
that's forged evidence by Jaron. We've already debunked that.
Well, put it this way, I can see
evidence by Jerry.
No, but I would call it. I would.
Hang on.
The higher you go, the more you can see closer to the ground, far away.
Let me challenge that. You claim that Canigou evidence was forged evidence by Jaron?
Yes.
Why would Jaron forge that Canigou? He was reporting on it originally. What you're saying that he manipulated that and then presented false evidence?
Yes, agents do this all the time. They put forth false evidence so that they can be discredited.
So how did you How did you falsify it?
Yeah, what was the evidence of fake?
You can look at our videos. It's already been debunked a long time ago. Just like the windmills that you guys were looking at, the wind towers there, that's fraudulent evidence as well. So
what?
It's just like
film that.
Do you understand what fraudulent means?
Yes.
Wow.
It's been doctored, manipulated.
How?
Huh?
It's
what
just
is a video?
What is your
It's
proof?
just-
You're making a claim here. What is your proof?
You can to play the video, Nathan.
It was going so well as well.
He was saying that the far tower was like 2 miles further back. I have a P900 and I can take items of same size, and something that's 2 miles back is not going to be the same overall diameter, size, width as something that's 2 miles near.
And how does that make his video fraudulent?
It's doctored evidence. I mean,
How?
It's you know
have you back engineered
it? Something is doctored.
Have you back engineered it?
Kidding?
Have you figured out how it was doctored?
Well, the water line right there, and then behind that, it's probably a screen overlay, which I could do.
But there's other people that have done the same thing. So, right?
Jason, that's quite a strong accusation. Are you sure you got
Have you tried it yourself? Have you actually done that exactly?
What he doesn't realize is I also took a bunch of still images too. So just that this is the video. Obviously, I scroll out and I show you where I am. But let me just show you the still shots too, because I did a panoramic from here from left to right. As you can see, the number in the top, DSCN 50500 JPG, file information, which is here, tells me where it was, blah, 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 blah. 3rd of June, 21:23 at night, Sunday. So if you say this manipulated, well, good luck, mate, because this was straight off the camera.
It's you can see that it's the same type of doctored, manipulated.
Dude, you keep using that word. I don't think you know what that word means.
I'm not sure he knows what that word.
It's no different than Soundly or Wolfie 6020. It's the same type of stuff.
So hang on, what do you understand by manipulated or faked? Do you mean that he's physically changed it to make it look different to how it was originally?
Well, it's provable. Any person can go out with a P900 and film something that's 2 miles away.
Right, but could you answer what I just asked?
Did you go there?
Hang on, wait. What do you mean? Wait. What do you mean when you say that it's been manipulated?
Doctored, manipulated. What? You're not dumb, are you? What do you think those words mean?
In the camera, in the actual camera. So Ranty reprogrammed the camera. Is that what you're saying?
And not just that, Ranty's reprogrammed it with evidence that goes against the flat Earth. If you argue it from the way it appears on screen, why would Ranty manipulate evidence against it? Right?
The same reason Jaron has done it. It's been done throughout the popular flat Earth.
What?
All the people that promote the AE map and model have used fraud.
We are not promoting the AE.
Hang on. Wait a minute. Let me just show you where I was. Line of sight from down here at Blackpool.
The Chicago skyline is doctored footage.
No, Jason, we now need to address your blatant accusation.
Just let me finish.
Evidence.
So
the Chicago skyline is though doctored footage too, bro.
Yeah. So are a lot of islands and stuff that people have said are visible. The flat Earth does not need faked and hoaxed evidence. That's all there to discredit.
How is the Chicago skyline fake footage?
Ranty can't even use what's the program? The video editing software. What makes you think he was able to even manipulate the software, the footage, let alone edit it? He can't even edit it properly yet.
Why are you speaking for somebody else and saying what they are capable and not capable of
doing?
Because they know.
The guy's right here is showing you the data off his computer. Like, are you kidding? Ranty,
no, I'm not kidding. But let's go back on topic. What we were talking about is perspective and how it works.
You're going nuts.
So
takes footage and then shows it like a few hours later. You really think he edits this?
Everybody's a hoaxer.
Do that. How would you do that?
Arwen, use your mind for a second.
I am.
Take a few items.
You're blindly accusing.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
you're very blind.
You just made yourself look real silly.
You're acting like an inquisitor for no reason whatsoever. We're not about the AE map.
And just with regards,
just taking footage, and all we are basically on about is how it's not a globe and it's flat. So I don't see why you're even doing this.
Can I also say that the Canigou Mountains that Jaren reported in his program a while ago, you can go to the channel where that was originally pulled from, that he cited from. That would mean that if you claim that Jaren's manipulated it, he would be responsible for the website that it came off as well, right?
Correct.
Have you got any evidence that website was controlled by Jaren?
There's a lot of evidence because it points to a fraudulent website that says that we can see mountains 300 miles away.
Right.
So
now, I don't know whether that's true or not.
That's not possible.
Yeah. Come on, man. You sounded like a retard. And I don't mean that in an offensive way, but...
Well, I do. It is retarded. It is retarded.
And this is
doesn't make any damn sense.
Simple mental
experiment. People can see very, very far. It all depends on the viewer height and the air clarity. And if you're high enough, then you can see very far if the air clarity allows it.
Take a row of telephone poles on a country road that are all the same height, and now tell me what.
I just take a picture. It's a lot easier.
Tell me that the one that's 2 miles back is going to be the same size as the one in the front, like we're seeing with those windmills.
It's not the same size.
No. Why would we're not seeing that with the windmills?
He's saying that the windmill blades are the same size.
Bring up the windmill.
You know how far they both
look at the diameter of the post of it.
You know that the latter row is actually a lot closer to the first row than the actual observer is.
Okay, let's finish discrediting the image that you're using, and then we can go on to perspective. Go ahead and bring up your image.
No, it's not discredited. You're slandering.
Can I ask?
Blind accusation.
I'd like to see your evidence
basis whatsoever. This is ridiculous.
You said Jeranism was debunked. I'd like to see your evidence for that.
Yeah, I'd like to see the fraud as well. But let me just
where's all this evidence for you?
Awake Souls.
It's on our channels. Awake Souls, Beyond Flat Earth, and the Limitless channel. We do hangouts 3 times a week, and we covered that right when it happened. We've exposed a lot of these things as they happen. Jaren is a fake flat earther.
Awake, can I ask you a question? I'm assuming you're a flat earther, right?
Yeah.
Right. So do you realize that there's not a single baller? Now, bear in mind that me, Nathan, and Ranty get a lot of baller hate. Not one single baller has accused Ranty of producing fake evidence, right? But you're on the flat Earth side, and you think that it's been falsified or doctored?
Well, I know that the AE map and model is impossible, and the promoters of it are all agents.
We don't talk about the AE map ever.
So wait, so anybody who talks about the AE map is an
We're talking about
agent,
Jaren right now, and he does promote it.
So he's an agent?
That's it.
What's that to do with it?
Laughable.
But that proves that he's an agent. That model has been.
Oh my God!
That he believes in the AE map. That's his personal conviction. Doesn't prove that he's a fraud.
To be honest,
proves that he
sounded
actually
like an agent
takes the extra step and
Arwen,
then
the
lays down a
AE map
conviction
model-
about what he believes is the most likely. Doesn't mean that he is correct, doesn't mean that he's frauding, doesn't mean that he's a shill, just means that he's stepping on the AE bandwagon. That doesn't make you a shill, that doesn't make you an agent.
But a person has to be literally stupid to believe that the AE map and model can work.
Right, well, that's your opinion.
Maybe.
Right?
No, it's been proven over and over and
It's
over.
been proven. No,
it's been
no,
proven
no, it's
that
not.
you have to be stupid to believe in the AE map. It's
Well,
been
hang on,
proven.
wait,
You have
can
evidence
also
for that
just
too.
add here-
You just said that I overlaid something.
This
have
is
if
you
you
had a
have-
discussion about whether the AE map's good or bad. Well, I don't know where the AE map comes into this.
Because
Well, the AE map
everybody
comes
who
into
believes in it
being
is an
used by the
agent.
military, used by the Navy, used by pretty much government institutes that use it for practical reasons. So
No.
kind of
No,
silly.
there are no practical reasons for
What do
the
you mean,
AE
no?
map and
No,
model.
so why do they use it then? Why do they use it
don't.
in their technical measurements and everything in their
Wait,
calculations?
how are you?
They
a
do
flat
not. You
earther?
cannot navigate by the AE map and model. It's impossible. The only
Yet
thing you
they
can
do
use it
it.
for is a
Oh.
clock.
Yet they do it.
No,
Why?
they don't.
Yeah, they do.
You are saying that they use
We
the
got
AE
we got
map and
actual
model?
proof of that, Jason.
Yeah.
We
Yeah,
can
bro.
we presented
Sorry to
it
interrupt,
here on the
guys.
show.
Jason, do you know how the AE map actually works?
Can anybody that believes in the AE map and model please
Sorry,
explain
did you
how
hear
we
my
see
question, Jason?
underlit clouds at sunrise and sunset?
Jason, did you hear my question?
No, I didn't.
Do you understand how the AE or azimuthal equidistant projection works?
It's a top-down projection of the globe.
No,
Yeah.
it's not.
And how do you
Yes,
map
it is.
on it? How is it useful?
As a clock. That's the only way it can be used.
No, it's a map. You
No.
know how
Map.
to
It
use
doesn't-
the
it has
azimuthal
nothing
projection?
to-
I'll take that as a no. So it works from the center out if you are trying to compare any distances, whereas you're saying it doesn't work because you can't plot across it, correct?
Nathan, if you're standing at the North Pole on
Sorry,
the AE map
let's
model,
just get
which
some
way do
common
you go to
ground,
go
Jason. You
south?
seem to be asking me a question when I ask you a very specific question about how a map works. You give me a crap answer that suggests you don't have the slightest idea how the azimuthal equidistant projection works.
I've debunked
Now
how
I'm
it
telling
works.
you, you are claiming it doesn't work because you cannot plot along the side of it, correct?
No, I'm claiming it doesn't work for an infinite amount of reasons.
Right, but it's only designed to work from the center out. It's an azimuthal equidistant projection.
Okay, and your point?
Not literal.
That you're building a straw man saying it doesn't work because you're trying to work it in a different way to how it's designed to be used. So every map has a use, every map has a purpose, and if it didn't
It's designed to
work,
be
no
used as a
one would ever
clock.
use it
You
for
can't
anything
navigate.
ever. It does work for its intended purpose if used as an equidistant projection from the center out.
So every single direction is south.
No. What are you talking about?
If you're standing at the North Pole, which direction are you going to go
It's
to go
just
south?
a projection. It's
You'd
not
have to
the
find the
world.
North Pole
I'm not claiming for a second that that's our world, right? It's just a projection.
Well, then why are you trying to defend it? We're just looking
Because
for
you're
the truth.
making out like people think it's our world. The map is not the terrain. But whether or not a map fulfills its purpose is totally irrelevant to whether or not it represents our world. No map is the world. The map's not the terrain.
Do you,
What I
have, do
think
you
is
agree
even
that
more
there has to be a
ridiculous is
map,
that
though? That there
you-
has to be distances between continents and directions? Do you agree on those things?
Yeah, but
Yeah,
we haven't
can
got
I
one.
ask, why
We don't
would
have
you think
no
that
map
anybody
in
who
existence
believes
accurately
in this
represents
map-
the world. They're all projections. They're all designed to be
Oh.
worked in different ways for different purposes in different situations. Now, I'm not going to deny that there's a massive deception when it comes to maps. There is. Or we just have an accurate map of everything. We don't. We have thousands because that's where the biggest heart of the deception is. But to accuse a specific map of not working because it doesn't work the way you want it to work is a bit disingenuous. It's just a projection.
we know that there are two polar points on Earth. There is a counterclockwise
do we?
rotation in the north when you're looking at Polaris.
Right,
When have you
no,
done
but
that? When have you done that, Jason? When have you gone and confirmed that fact?
You have no proof that they are physical.
Right. When have you
Zero.
confirmed that?
And then
have
you
no
go
proof they
even
are physical.
further.
Hold on.
Then you
We haven't
go
got
even
past
further
going
to
further.
call-
When have you confirmed that? When have you sat with your back looking up and confirmed that Polaris is above your head?
I have a P900 and I've
Sorry,
done star
when
trails,
have you sat? Listen to
pointed
my
the camera
question. Listen. You've got to listen to the question. Don't answer the question you think you hear. When have you sat with you on your back looking up at Polaris directly above your head, i.e. at the pole?
Ronnie has actually done that in the north where it's
Ronnie's been to the North Pole, has he? Wow. Where's the video of Ronnie going to the North Pole, Jason?
You, dude.
When have you?
Asking you.
When have you?
Y-O-U.
You.
I have not lived
When
that far
have
north.
you?
Right. So shut your mouth when you start asserting about what the poles do then, Jason. Okay?
Yeah, you're acting like a physical body literalist.
Yeah. You haven't got a
falling
clue what you're
asleep.
talking about. You don't have the slightest idea what the poles do, and neither do I. But you're here telling people what's what. Like you know. Like we've got two poles that do stuff, and you've never even been. So what the hell are you talking about? It's very frustrating. Yeah? Just annoying to everybody on the panel.
See the globe of the heavens too. You have no proof that those are physical objects.
And you have no proof that those are happening on a globe.
Well, let's just face it,
What is
guys.
above us does not. Hey, what is above us does not prove what we are on. Okay, I'm sick and tired of that argument. My friend tried to show me Saturn, and he did. It doesn't prove that we're on a globe. Okay, it doesn't. It doesn't prove anything. It's a light that has some shape, but I don't see any depth to that light, and I've never been there. So you can't prove what we are on based on what you see above us.
There are angular relations between the globe of the heavens and their position, and the time, and the position of your Earth, of the Earth where you are standing on. There are relations between the heavenly bodies and their angles in accordance to the position of the Earth. There's no proof whatsoever that they have anything to do with the actual shape of the physical Earth you are standing on. Whatsoever.
So which person that supports the AE map and model would like to explain how when you see a sunrise and a sunset, you can see the clouds underlit? You
What's the
actually
sun,
see
Jason?
the sun
What's
come
the
up
sun?
the
The
horizon.
sunlight is coming from a different angle.
What's the sun, Jason? What is it?
Can I ask you a question?
What's the sun?
It's a light source that does provide heat.
Oh, right. So what is it?
I just told you.
Well, no, I
what
can
is
tell
it?
that,
Not
but I'm
what
looking.
does it
I'm saying,
do?
what is
Not
it?
what does it do? What is it?
What is it?
It's the sun. It's the light. It's the
Yeah, I
body.
know that, but
Look,
what is it
exactly
though?
the way
That doesn't
everyone
answer
does.
my question.
What is it?
What is it?
It's the greater light. The Bible tells us.
Oh, really?
Okay.
So is it a physical object?
So
Is it
would
a
we concede
burning
you don't
ball?
know then, Jason?
Or is
All
it
these
just-
assertions you're making about the sun, you don't actually know what it is?
You are the one that's obfuscating right now.
You seem to
The
be
question
not
was-
answering me. Every time I ask Jason a question, he seems to ignore it and then ask me or answer a question he thinks he's heard. You don't know what the sun is, Jason. You haven't got the slightest idea what it is, do you?
And I have a theoretical description of how you can
Not you,
interpret
Arwin.
that
Just
from
let
a
Jason say
non-physical
no.
perspective.
Just let
And that
Jason say
is
no.
that the
I
sun
don't know
is
what the sun is.
actually an optical
Arwin, why are you
effect, a
answering for
disc
Jason?
called
Why is it
a
I get
focal
Jason on the
point
ropes
from
and you
a
answer him?
universal direction of the
Oh, you're
sun
literally not going to
light.
shut up, Arwin. I've just got Jason a question through. You don't understand what the sun is. Now you're answering. So, Jason, you don't know what the sun is, correct?
Neither do you, Nathan.
No, I conceded that, you idiot. Did you not listen? I don't know what it is, and you don't know what it is, but you're here making assertions about someone else's assertions about a map that you've misrepresented.
Let's talk about what we observe.
No, I'm talking about you using a map that you don't understand and slagging off Jeren. That's what I'm talking about. You're making assertions about the sun based on a map you don't understand to slag off Jeren. That's what you're doing.
I think you lose all credibility as soon as
I
you
agree.
say
Just losing all
something like,
credibility with every second that passes.
Yeah.
Nobody's
everybody
debunked.
everybody
nobody's
who
debunked
gives
me
the
on any
AE
one of these
map
points.
So everybody who gives the AE map even a second thought is an agent to you?
No,
that's
the
what you're
people that
saying?
promote it that have been shown that it doesn't work.
and that means they're
Okay, let's
agents.
just get that to bed.
That's
Who on the
Maybe-
panel?
Look,
Who on the panel
maybe
thinks
it
the
doesn't
AE
work
map
as a
is the world?
literal physical representation
time,
of
Arwin.
what the Earth is.
Hey, one at a
Doesn't
time.
mean that it doesn't
Arwin,
work.
chill.
Let's
Arwin,
talk
Arwin,
about
chill.
what we observe, guys. Let's
Any
talk
of
about
us
that.
on the panel
That's
think
what
the
we've
AE
been
map
talking
is
about.
our
That's
world?
what everyone's been discussing. Our
Who on the
observations.
panel thinks the
Then
AE
let's-
map's the
Let's go
world?
back to this video on perspective and see if anybody can debunk a single part of it.
Is it based on the AE map?
No. No, it's about perspective.
But why are we talking about the AE map?
Because we went off on a tangent that had to
No,
do
you
with...
went off on a tangent and slagging off Jaren based on his belief in how you think the map should or shouldn't work.
You're the one that brought up the people falsifying evidence. We didn't do that.
I know, we had the discussion and now we're moving on. Let's go back to
No,
perspective.
we're not moving
Yeah.
on. We're pointing out what a shit you are.
It's ridiculous.
No, you
man.
haven't.
I am. I'm pointing out, number one, you're thick. Yeah? You have no slightest idea how the AE map is actually supposed to work. I doubt very much that you've ever actually looked into the application of that map. So you telling me with some straw man about how someone else represents their belief in that map is nonsense. Especially as literally no one on the panel ever has asserted they believe the AE map is a representation of our world.
Map. The map has been debunked.
Yeah, we don't care about that right now. Let's talk about perspective. This is the topic that you guys have
You
been covering.
bought
and I
the
think
map
you did a
up.
pretty good
No, the
job.
prop-
You bought it up to attack Jaren. That was your bringing it up, not us. Now you're saying we're not talking about the map. No, we've heard you slagging off Jaren using this map. Now we're holding your toes to the fire
about the
for
map
it.
if you want to.
You're one of these asshole flat earthers that likes to slag everybody off. That's what you are.
Yeah.
We're attacking Rumpus
Not a
for not
single person
accounting
has
for
been able to
perspective,
debunk a
and
wait.
you have hijacked that and tried to attack Jaren.
Yeah,
You're just a
he's a flat
shithead.
earther. That's the
You're a
most
shithead,
hilarious
Jason.
Am I, dude?
You're a shithead.
Not a single person has been
Yeah.
able to debunk a thing that we've said yet. So
No one's trying to debunk you because no one gives a shit what you've got to say. No one's watching your shitty videos with all your fake subscribers. No one gives two shits what you have to say. Yet you're coming on a platform that people do watch, that does have an audience, to slag off Jaren because you're a shit.
no,
Not just
Jaren's-
Jaren, he was
Jaren
basically
is-
accusing Ranty of
And
falsifying visual evidence. That is the most
Right,
egregious.
right after
That's
Ranty
disgusting,
is
dude.
showing him the data off his screen. He's still telling him,
Jaren
"Oh,
is a
doctor,
Jesuit.
are you
Jaren
kidding
is a
me?"
Jesuit that sells witchcraft.
you know-
You're still doing it now. Yeah? I've just pointed out what an asshole you are for doing this. So you think that's your opening to do it again, do you, asshole? Yeah? These are the kind of flat earthers I hate. Just assholes. Out to slag off other people who have clearly worked considerably harder and built up a bit better reputation than they have. You don't have a reputation. You don't have any popularity. Nobody likes you, Jason, because you're a wanker. This is the kind of wanker
I've
behaviour
got over
that
16,000
demonstrates that.
subs on my channel. How many do you have?
I don't
Yeah,
give
how
a
much
crap
did-
about your fake subs. No one watches your crap. Yeah?
And I've never monetized.
Why did you stutter when I brought up fake
That's not
subs?
what I asked.
Why did
What?
you stutter when I mentioned fake subs?
I don't have any fake subs.
That sounded a bit
I've-
high-pitched.
I've bought views.
Why
I've
did you
never
go up an
bought subs
octave?
in my life.
Why did you go up a pitch when you said you didn't have them? That's normally the sign of a lie.
I didn't hear the question.
Now you're
until you
stuttering again.
second restated
Now
it.
you're stuttering again. I mentioned fake subs, you go up an
I'm not
octave and start
stuttering.
stuttering.
You're accusing me
I
of
know
something
you're a
that-
faker. You're full of shit. You're a liar, and you're just here to slag off the competition because nobody likes you and no one watches your shit. And the reason they don't like you and the reason they don't watch is because you've got no credibility.
Hold on,
Got
let's
over
hear what
16,000
You're
subs.
extremely
How many do
negative
you
and
have?
call everyone a Satanist. Every single person. I've heard you use the word hate over 80 times in a single hangout.
Right.
That's
You hate
abnormal.
filled asshole.
That
Which
is
one?
abnormal.
Which one? Yeah,
You.
Arwen. Which
Any
hangout?
video, like I just clicked a random one, just watched it for a few times.
That's a
80
lie,
times you
that
use
is.
the word hate.
All right, Arwen.
Now-
Arwen,
now
that's cool, man.
everybody
That's
knows
just
that you're a
his
liar,
character.
Arwen.
No,
Hey,
no.
Sleeping Warrior has a question for him. I want to hear it.
Yes.
Give me a second. It'll come back to me. Oh, right. So you've got 16,000 subs, yeah?
Over.
Could 15, whatever. Could you name us 3 people that would vouch for you as a credible witness?
I could name hundreds.
Just 3.
let's start with Ronnie, and then
I don't know who he is.
That's one.
Ronnie.
Come on, we've got one. Can we get three?
Yeah, Terry Zoppi.
Are you looking at your page?
David Valdivia. He's the one.
Pronounce his name. Good friend of yours, right?
You know the guy.
Did you see the 2-hour documentary on my channel that's got over 700,000 views? He's the one.
It doesn't matter how many views they are. There's 1 billion views on the shittiest channels ever.
Maybe we'd like to compare statistics. I'm up for this. I've never done this before.
The reason why I'm asking is because if someone goes for a job and you put like a reference at the bottom to give you a credit, a character reference. I'll be honest, I've not come across you before, Awake Souls, and I've not seen your channel before or any of your work. So this is the first time I've met you, and I'm thinking what people would stand up for you and say Awake Souls is a decent guy. And the 3 names you've given there are not any of. I don't recognize any of them names, and I've been in Flat Earth for 2 years, and I'm not using that as a dick swinging thing. But what I'm saying is the names that you've given there are not people that I've even heard of. So I'm thinking the credibility is a bit of an issue for me, because how would we validate that you're a decent kind of guy based on not meeting you before now and not being able to give us 3 names that I even recognize? Does anybody else recognize them names apart from?
Never heard of him.
He's not a decent guy. He's an asshole.
Watch the Strange Truth Project.
Don't watch any of his stuff.
The
guy's an asshole. He's only here to promote his own crap, which no one's interested in, and he fakes. So no one's interested, Jason. You can try and promote your bullshit here, but no one's really that interested. We all implicitly know that you're an asshole because you've behaved like an asshole ever since you've got on the panel. You've done nothing but slag people off. You are an asshole. Yeah? Asshole is as asshole does, and you are behaving like an asshole.
Can you share my screen, Nathan, please?
I can.
Right, perfect. Tell me when I'm sharing. When I'm
You are.
playing. Right, this is Awake Souls channel. He has 16,000 subscribers. 1 week ago, he uploaded a video. It has 324 views. A week ago, he uploaded a video. It has 438 views. We're getting a sort of like, where I'm coming from here. 572
Can you do a comparison, Ranty? Ranty, can you just do a comparison? I know someone else who's got about 16. I know someone else who's got about 16,000 subscribers.
I'm
Jason,
seeing how relevant you are now. This is in the last week. A week, you've had 324 views. Do me a favor. I put a video up 2 days ago. It's got 152, and I only have 400 subs.
I have a community guideline strike right now.
Oh, really?
Right, okay. Well, that doesn't stop you uploading videos. You just can't live stream.
Can you just do a comparison, Ranty? Ranty, can you just go to Flat Earth Another Hot Potato? She's got about the same number of subscribers.
Where are we? Flat Earth Another Hot Potatoes, yeah.
You're going to take us to Pat.
Shut your mouth. Shut up. Right, let's have a look at someone who's got an actual subscriber base of about 16,000 subscribers and see how many views they get. Can you just go to videos, Ranty?
I actually know most of her followers.
Can you go to videos? Click on videos. Videos, please, Ranty.
You're taking us directly into.
Can you shut your mouth, Jason? No one's talking to you. We're pointing out that other people with a similar number of subscribers seem to get several thousand views per video. You seem to get a few hundred. That's because you fake your channel.
Beat me in a debate.
I'm debating you right now, you absolute retard.
No, let's go to the.
I am debating you now as you stutter. I'm pointing out to a rather substantial audience right now that other people with a similar number of subs get substantially more views than you, and I put it to you that it's because you buy subscribers.
By your own admission, by the way.
No, I said I've never bought a subscriber ever. I have paid for views.
You've paid for views and you expect us to believe any other statistic you ever present ever. You're a charlatan.
No, we are the most...
You've paid for views. So you have convinced somebody who comes along to one of your videos, like shills do. That's what shills do. They stand around to make something seem more popular than it is. So you've got shill views, have you, you shill?
What? Can I ask also, why is it that you're not getting offended when people are calling you names right now?
Oh, come on. It doesn't have any effect
on me
whatsoever because I know the truth and I know who I'm talking to right now.
We know it's true. 16,000 subscribers, 400 views on a video that's been up for a week.
Do you know all?
Nah, just a liar and a charlatan. You've already admitted here. You've admitted to the lesser crime of buying views to try and buy yourself a bit of credibility, and all it's done is convince every single member of the audience that you're buying views, that you're a charlatan, that you've got shills literally in your videos. They're shills. The people standing around the dodgy card game, making it seem like it's popular, are called shills. And when you've got fake views on a video, which you've absolutely admitted to, they're shills, making the video seem more popular. So you're a shill.
They're real views.
No. You've paid for them. Yeah? You can call some guy in Korea clicking on your video real, but that's not real, my friend. Real is real. That's somebody actually viewing. There's a real statistic out there for any charlatan that wants to claim that they've got 1 million views and 1 million subscribers. It's not what YouTube go on. That's why they don't give a crap about people buying them. The only stat that YouTube are interested in is watch time minutes. How much time does people actually spend watching your videos in minutes per 28 days? That's what they're interested in.
You want to look?
Not subscribers, because who gives a crap? You can buy them. Not views. Who gives a crap? You can buy them. But watch time, that's something you can't buy. You can't pay a Korean man to sit in front of your video for an hour, can you?
Let's see the watch time, Nathan.
For who?
Phil said he'll show it.
He just said he buys the watching time.
You can buy better quality subscribers, I'm sure.
100 views a week ago. He's got 16,000 subs. Is he even getting this?
Faker. We know these fakers. I researched this about a year ago with Dread.
It's impossible to buy the watch time views. So do you want to see?
Yeah, let's see the watch time.
But if you're buying views, aren't you essentially buying watch time? If you're buying views, that's buying watch time.
Because people aren't required to stay clicked on a video. You shut off a video before, right?
You're paying for them to click the video, right?
It's a website that uses Facebook to get people's videos presented where they normally wouldn't see them.
Okay, that's
just marketing. That's all
you're
it is.
paying for that, right?
In Korea, in front of a load of bots, a load of Korean guys in a desk. That's where it won't get seen, and you pay them for this service, you muppet.
What?
I think the correct word for this is shill.
Yeah, shilling.
I think you're a shill.
You're like you literally came out.
What's this peak? What's this massive peak halfway through the month? What's this massive peak?
It's the truth, and not a single person has been able to debunk it. So, I mean, you guys are making yourselves look really, really bad right now by not being willing to go in and actually address the things that we teach on our channel.
Yeah, but hang on. You also said that nobody's been able to debunk anything that you said on this show. But earlier on, you said that Ranty had faked evidence, and no one baller has ever suggested that Ranty has ever faked any of his evidence.
And you still have provided proof for that.
It is a false dialectic. So the Jesuits are the ones. Listen. The Jesuits are the ones behind. The Jesuits are the ones behind the globe Earth model. The Freemasons are the ones behind the AE map model. They work in collusion together. So
I agree.
You're one of those guys.
Dialectic.
So what?
I get it.
So what?
Right, I'm going for a lie down because all this shilling's taking its taste.
Yeah, man, having these shills on the show is pretty terrible.
This is the way Satan has operated within this world all this time here. It's
By deception.
So there has to be two false things.
And with that, I think I'll say first and foremost a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of the live audience for tuning in and hopefully for sharing this debate. And of course for super chatting. Thank you very much indeed to everyone who hit the super chat. And of course a massive thank you to all of the debating panel for making this debate possible. If you hated the show, then I'm sure you know what to do. But if you like the show, consider sharing it with a friend and maybe subscribing if you've not done so already. I've been Nathan Oakley and I will see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!